Hey folks, it's Sue with Sue is Retiring to France on a Shoestring. It is Tuesday, April 8th, and today started out really bad. I decided when I woke up about 5:15, which is when my neighbor gets up and leaves, that I was just going to stay in bed all day. I just needed that kind of mental break. However, it got to be really beautiful outside and I could hear the birds chirping. And as such, I decided, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go back to my lists, which I haven't ignored, but really focus on my list today. And got a lot done. And some really positive things too. So first off, I was able to get past my brain block and do the final step to list my RV on RV Trader and Craigslist. All I really needed to do was take a few more photos, and I should have taken more outdoor photos, but that's what was holding me back. And I just decided, you know what? If somebody's going to come out to look at the rig, they're going to see what it looks like anyway. And given the fact that it's priced so low, if they're interested, they're going to be interested. And they're going to know it's not going to be like showroom worthy, glossy 2024. And I was right. I actually have a gentleman who saw my ad probably about not even an hour after I posted it. And he's actually on his way here to see the rig because it possibly fits his needs. And whether or not it does or does not, it's a big mental boost that he's coming out to see it. So I'm extremely happy about that. Another thing that got addressed today, and I've mentioned it I think a couple of times before, is that the Social Security Administration made a complete blooper with my account last October and did not pay me my October Social Security payment in November as scheduled. They did something wrong on the back end and they fixed it immediately, but not in time for it to be processed and sent to me. So it's been sitting in paperwork hell essentially since November 18th. It was supposed to be sent to be paid out on December 6th. And when I called on January 15th, when they told me to call, the customer service rep was so apologetic that it was still sitting there in the queue. So she did whatever she needed to do to bump it to the next level and said to call back in February just to see where it was in the system, which I did. And it was moved a little bit, but not where it needed to be. And so that person was also incredibly helpful and moved it the next level further and said, call back in March, which of course I did. Now, as I found out today, the person in March actually could have messed things up really badly because apparently there's a 60-day turnaround time from a certain type of query for this type of event. But the person in March screwed it up, so it didn't go through, which is fantastic. So that means that the February inquiry is in place and it is slated to hopefully pay out no later than 20 days from today, which was the day that I called. She did whatever she had to do on her end, and then there's a 20-day turnaround. And she said, if it doesn't get paid out, or I don't have any notification that it is going to be paid out, then I have to call them back on the 28th of April, and then they basically send it to upper management. She said nobody likes for that to happen because then people get their butts chewed out, understandably so, and I'm totally okay with that. But she was so gracious and so helpful, and once again, I thanked her and all of her colleagues for doing such an incredibly hard and difficult job in such a horrible time to be working for the government. But I feel so much more peaceful about that today. The other reason I called them, which was the initial reason I called them, and then this was the piggyback, I was going to wait another couple days to call on April 14th, but it's April 8th. And I got a notification this morning that I had another $39 deposited into my bank account from Social Security. And all I could think was like, holy crap, what's $39? Please don't tell me that they did something wonky with my April payment and it's not going to pay out. Or please don't tell me that that is going to be the full sum of my October payment, that somehow they screwed up and took out 99.9% of it or whatever. I have no idea what that is. But she was able to tell me that actually I'm getting a bonus. That was back pay for January, February, and March. I'm getting an extra $13 a month in my Social Security now. So that is something to write home about and buy at least another case of ramen soup, right? So those are some good things. I'm looking forward to this gentleman coming and looking at the rig. After that, I'm also meeting a gentleman relatively close by. When we had our last cold snap, I filled up all 3 of my 5-pound propane tanks, which I knew I wouldn't need. But one of them is empty now, and I changed that one out. And then the other one is still completely full. And there is absolutely no way, now that it is nicer weather, that I will be using that, because it's primarily for cooking, a little bit for hot water heater, and a lot if I use it for my furnace. And I won't be using my furnace at all anymore. So I have sold my empty tank and one of the full tanks to a guy who lives nearby. And so that'll be a nice way to kind of close out a day that started out on such a negative front. And I have done a lot of walking today. It's day 29 of hashtag 30 for 30 2025. I'm not quite sure where I'm at right now, but I made an effort to go and drop off some things to friends that live in the park, and I took separate trips to do that so that I would actually up my step count and up my time count. So I think I'm about an hour and 12 minutes right now, and that doesn't even include the dog walks that they will have after 6 o'clock when they have their dinner, and then their final dog walks. So everything is going good. Heading into day 30 tomorrow on a positive note. I hope everybody had a great Tuesday. And I will wish you all a bonjour, a bonsoir. I will see you probably tomorrow. And because I'll have to give you an update on this guy maybe wanting my rig, right? And I will see you then. Au revoir. Bonjour, everyone. It is Sue with Sue is Retiring to France on a Shoestring. It is Wednesday, April 9th. And as you saw in yesterday's video segment, I was all hopped up about a possible buyer for my RV. But I got the information about half an hour ago that he has decided not to downsize from his 40-foot 5 slide-out rig to my 32-foot 1 slide-out rig. So that's basically the equivalent of going from probably around 500 square feet, maybe more, to 300 square feet. And he likes to entertain his grandchildren. So I totally understand it, but I'm still really, really deflated by it. Now, I do have a video buyer tomorrow that wants to do a walkthrough of the rig, and so maybe that'll pan out. I had another gentleman today from Craigslist who quite honestly was a total dick. He was telling me all the things that I should do to the rig to make it fit his needs, and was pressuring me to go ahead and have the fuel pump installed. But the whole reason I priced it about 45% of retail value is so I don't have to deal with that stuff. I don't have the time to schedule that. I don't have the time to navigate that. I certainly don't think that it would put any more money in my pocket. It would just be more money out of my pocket. So after he went back and forth a couple times, getting honestly a little bit more aggressive with each email, I just kindly and gently said to him, look, I don't think this is the right rig for you. He kept stating he didn't want a project. I'm like, this is a project. It needs a fuel pump. It's not a big project. It's probably a 4-hour replacement. So there you go. And then the thing, you can drive it anywhere you want to, dude. So yeah, the theme, I think, as I've mentioned before, the next 7 weeks is going to be up and down and up and down and up and down. And I am getting used to it, but it's really not that healthy. So I'm trying to find the joys in little things every single day. And one of those right now is coming out and shooting this video outside in the shade of my patio, just kind of absorbing things. I have gotten in my 30 minutes of walking today for the last day of the hashtag 30 for 30 2025 walking challenge put on by Simply Katie Walks YouTube channel, and it has been a ton of fun, and I can't believe it's over already. It seems like it was just a week ago that it started, but here we are on day 30. I don't know what I'm gonna do this evening. I know I should probably disconnect and disengage from my very hyperactive brain right now in terms of trying to figure out something else I can do to affect movement, and there really isn't anything I can do right now. I'm doing all the things I should be doing. I've put up all my stuff for sale. I've packed most of my things. Along those lines, I am delighted that I originally thought I was going to have enough clothing and shoes and just the personal effects that would consume about 9 boxes that are about 18 inches by 19 inches by 14 inches. And it looks like now I will be able to get away with 5, possibly 6. And then my 2 suitcases. So that is tremendous that I've been able to get rid of that much more stuff. So I'm making good progress in that respect. I've made tremendous progress in terms of selling, donating, and tossing all the other accoutrements of many years, especially the last 8 years of living tiny and keeping things that you might need for the future. Anybody on here who has parents, grandparents, or yourself, like me, that is of a family heritage where you save everything because you never know when you're going to need it, man, it's painful getting rid of all that stupid stuff that you kept just because you might need it someday. Ugh. Pieces of rope, things like that you never know. You might need a 24-inch piece of rope. Yes, maybe you will, so you'll buy a new one. Kids, if you're watching this, get rid of that crap and buy it when you need it and stop carting it around. Old people like me, get rid of it so your kids don't have to when we croak. Okay, so that's it. I wish everybody a bonjour, a bonsoir. Please take care of yourself, and I will see you again soon. Au revoir.